Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you. Well, actually, good morning. Thank you so much for being with me today. My name is Romy Jurado. I'm an attorney here at Jurado and Associates. We are a law firm located in Miami, and we help in the areas of business law, real estate, immigration, litigation, probate, state planning, and intellectual property. Today's presentation is going to be discussing investment visas and how they work well with real estate. We've recently had a new visa that was becoming available, which is the EB-5, and we're so happy for it. So I'm going to discuss that as well and the new requirements with regards to the EB-5 visa. What I would like to do now is to share my screen with you. And for the presentation, I want to make it really interactive. So if you have any questions, please, by all means, feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A so that way I can address them. If you have any questions after, feel free to email me and I will do my best to assist you. Again, my name is Romy Jurado. I'm an attorney in South Florida with Jurado and Associates. I've been at this for over 10 years and I do help a lot of realtors and their clients grow, protect their business, obtain visas, do real estate closings and business closings. In today's class, hopefully you'll come out with a lot of knowledge so that you can also grow your business. Thank you so much for being with me today. There it is. All right, everybody should be able to see my screen now. If you don't, let me know. All right, so a little outline for us. I'm going to be discussing investment in real estate, the L1 visa, the E2 visa, and the EB5 visa with the new updates regarding the EB5 visa. Okay, so I suppose a lot of you guys are realtors, and I want to tell you first, why is it that you should be interested in learning about investment visas? When it comes to investment visas, the clients are going to want to have a place to work. Now, I understand that you can start a business, as we have seen, and pretty much run it out of your laptop and your phone. When you're starting a business for an immigration visa, an investment visa or residency, you do need to have workspace. And it needs to be a space where you're able to obtain the required licenses and permits to operate the business that you're operating legally. So most of the time, for example, for the E2 visa, they're going to want maybe a small office. It could be a co-working space. For the L1 visa, they will need sufficient office premises, warehouse premises if their business involves buying and selling stuff. So they will need to have actual office space. It cannot be a virtual office. For EB5 visa purposes, if they start a business from scratch, they're also going to need to have actual office space. The office space cannot be a residential property. So you as real estate agents can assist these people in finding that office space, and then they will need to apply for the license and permits in order to be able to legally operate that business. Also, clients will need a place to live. In my experience, when they come in and start in their investment visa process, they will need to find a place to live temporarily, some temporary housing, which again, you guys can help them find. Once they've found the temporary housing and we've applied for their visa and they have their social security number and they feel more comfortable in the United States, the first thing the clients do is buy real estate because now they want to reside in a nice house. So they will do that. And then you as the realtor that helped them find the temporary housing can also now help them find the place that they're going to live, somewhere where they have good schools and things like that. Also, clients may start a business that specializes in buying and selling real estate. For a lot of the investment visas that we're going to discuss, buying and selling real estate will work. And if you're the realtor, you can assist them in, of course, buying and selling real estate. Some of my clients buy lots, they develop them. You can help them in that as well. Some of my clients buy shopping centers or they buy buildings. I mean, anything will work and you can help them in that as well. Lastly, clients can also buy or they can start a business, but they can buy an existing business and you guys can help them in buying that business. That business can be any business for an E2 visa or an L1 visa and for an EB5 visa. So as long as it meets certain requirements, depending on the visa, they can buy any existing business and you as licensed real estate agents can help them buy those businesses. The first visa I'm going to discuss about today is the L1 visa. The L1 visa allows a foreigner from any country. So here we don't have a restriction as to the country. to start a business in the United States by expanding one existing in any other country. So that is your first requirement. The foreigner needs to have worked for 1 year out of the past 3 years in a company abroad. That company can be located anywhere. So we have clients that have a company in Peru and they work there and then decide to open up a branch of that company here, no problem. The company abroad and the company in the United States do not need to be engaged in the same type of industry or business. So abroad, they could have been lawyers running a law firm, and in the United States, they decided to open up a childcare business. No problem, that's all going to be allowed. So the L1 visa allows a foreigner to come to the United States and direct the company in the United States. They get a visa usually for 1 year. They renew for an additional 2 years. And then the great thing is that after that, we are able to apply for permanent residence for that person. The main requirement is that we establish a relationship between the company abroad and the company in the United States. That relationship can be a parent, subsidiary, affiliate, or branch. And we are the ones that establish that relationship by forming the company in the United States, preparing all the corporate documents, and showing that the ownership structure meets either the parent, subsidiary, affiliate, or branch definition. Also, the employee abroad that's going to be sent here needs to have been on payroll for 1 year out of the past 3 years. And that employee needs to be employed abroad in an executive, manager, or needs to be an employee with special knowledge. For immigration purposes, an executive is somebody that oversees other professionals. That is why when we send somebody to the United States on an L1 visa as an executive, we like to show that that employee has a college degree or at least 10 years of experience, and that under them, they are supervising other persons that have college degrees or a lot of years of experience. All of the people they supervise don't need to be professionals, but we recommend a minimum of at least 4 professionals in the company abroad. The company abroad, we recommend that have at least 8 employees because you want to show that it's a company that's set up, that's growing, and that's the reason why it wants to open up a business in the United States. In the company abroad, we're also going to be showing the financials of the company. We have to show that the company is, making profits, doing well, and that is why they want to open up a subsidiary here in the United States. In the United States, physical premises for an L1 visa are extremely important. You have to show that you have sufficient physical premises, that you have all the licenses and permits to operate the business in the United States. The employee in the United States also needs to be hired in an executive, managerial, or somebody with specialized knowledge. In order for us to show that when applying for an L1 visa, we also ask that the company in the United States have a minimum of 8 employees and half of them professional. We have to show this because otherwise they're not going to approve the L1 visa. The L1 visa doesn't have a minimum investment required, but in our experience, we recommend a minimum of $200,000 because you're going to need to have money for payroll. Since I told you, you need to hire employees here in the US, you need to rent to physical premises, or you need to buy them. You could also buy the premises. All the money on an L1 visa comes from the company abroad because it's basically the company abroad deciding to open up a subsidiary here in the United States. So that is with the L1 visa. The investor gets it, their spouse gets it, their children under 21 also get it, and they can all apply for residency. So it's a great visa to get because more or less in 3 years, you can be a permanent resident. After you're a permanent resident, you no longer need to work for that company if you don't want to. You can sell it, you can do whatever you want, but you already be a permanent resident. Let me know if you have any questions regarding L1 visas. I think I see one. Okay, no, not yet. All right, so why would somebody choose an L1 visa? Because they want to be eventually residents here and citizens. It's really a great visa as long as they work for 1 year out of the past 3 years in the company abroad, and that company abroad has a minimum, I would say, of 8 employees, half of them professionals, and they work in an executive, managerial, or somebody with specialized knowledge capacity. An executive are those people that manage other professionals. A manager is somebody that can manage a particular function. For example, we had a case where we had somebody that didn't really oversee employees, but she managed the marketing function. And we were able to bring her in here as a manager because she managed the marketing function and the country of origin, and she dealt with the media, she dealt with freelancers, she dealt with independent contractors. So while she didn't specifically have W-2 payroll employees under her, let's say in the country, she still oversaw the function itself, marketing function, which was such an important function of the organization that we needed her to do the same here in the United States. And then here in the United States, also we showed that she was going to be managing that function because there already we had independent contractors that were going to do some media work. She was going to be dealing with salespeople and things like that. So you could, again, be an executive and oversee other professional employees. You can manage a function, or you can be somebody that has specialized knowledge. I told you that you don't need to have the same company abroad do the same thing in the United States. You really don't. Abroad, you can have a factory, and here you have a restaurant. The only time where it needs to be the same type of industry is if you're trying to qualify somebody as somebody with specialized knowledge. Because if you're saying that they have specialized knowledge regarding your particular industry and work, and you need to bring them here, then in the United States, you also need to do that particular industry or work. So that's the only time where we ask for that. The person abroad, whoever comes here, does not have to be the owner of the company abroad. That's a misconception. They can be the owner of the company abroad, but they don't have to. I have helped people that tell me, Romy, I want to send my son to open up the subsidiary in the United States, but he doesn't own anything in my company, in my country. Is that a problem? Absolutely not. It's not a problem as long as he has been on payroll for 1 year out of the past 3 years. You can send anybody. They don't have to have any familiar relationship, nothing. They just need to qualify and be an employee on whatever payroll is in their country for 1 year out of the past 3 years in order to be able to be sent to the United States to run the subsidiary. Somebody's asking me, when is the company abroad? It can be in the country they live in. Yes, the company abroad can be, it has to be in the country they live in because they have to have worked for that company for 1 year out of the past 3 years. Okay, somebody's asking me, what is the paperwork to sponsor somebody in the United States if you're a US citizen? If you have a company in the United States, even a small company, 5 people, you can bring foreign workers to the United States. You can bring them on an H-1B visa. That's a temporary visa that is granted for 3 years and it could keep on being renewed. There is a lottery that happens in March and then you start to work in the job in October. You can bring them on a TN visa if they're Canadian or if they're Mexican. You can bring them on an H-1B1 visa if they're Chilean or from Singapore. They also have those visas. You can sponsor them for permanent residency through labor certification or PERM. You can do that too from any country. You can bring people that want to just train in the United States with a J-1 visa. You can do that from any country as well. You can bring people that are currently in university or that have already graduated within the past 5 years and they want to do some training here. So there's different options as a US company to bring foreign labor to the United States. There's also the H-2A visa, the H-2B visa, if you have people that want to come here temporarily for non-agricultural jobs or for agricultural jobs. So it just depends on your position that you're offering, who you're trying to bring, and then we can discuss your options if you're looking to bring foreign labor to the United States. E-2 visa. The E-2 visa allows people from countries that have a navigational treaty with the United States to invest in the United States in a new business or to buy an existing business and then be able to live here and work here. The investment amount that we recommend should be at least $100,000. The more, the merrier. It could be in any business, any legal business. I've had people buy bakeries, pet stores, pet grooming places, salons, medical spas, daycares, schools, everything under the sun. So as long as it's a for-profit business in the United States and you want to buy it, you can do it. The minimum employees that we recommend are at least 2, okay? You could also start your business from scratch, no problem. Clients that have used E-2 visa for real estate, for example, we've had people that have bought shopping centers and their business is property management. People that have bought 7 houses and their business is property management. are short-term rentals. Also, they buy like 7 apartments and their business is short-term rentals. I had people buy pieces of land and they develop it, so they become a construction company. That also works. I have people buy commercial space and their job is to manage the offices. That is also property management. That would also work. And then your regular, any type of business, restaurants, spas, like I mentioned, at least 2 employees and you're able to get an E2 visa. The length of the E2 visa will depend on the country that you're from. For example, Argentinians get 5 years, Colombians get 5 years, Chileans only get 1 year, Mexicans get 4 years. That doesn't mean that's all the time that you get. That's the time that you get at the beginning, but you can keep on renewing indefinitely as long as the business is going forward. The E2 visa allows the investor and their spouse and their children under 21 to live in the United States to operate that business. They can also come in and out from the country as they wish. This is a treaty visa, so you don't have to be here if you don't want to. The main requirement is that the person is from a treaty country. Now, only the investor needs to be from a treaty country. So we had many cases where the investor qualifies because, for example, to give you a real life example, Peru, sadly, I'm Peruvian, we don't have a treaty with the United States that qualifies us for E2 visa. I know it's horrible, but a lot of Peruvians are able to obtain Colombian citizenship. So we had cases where only the spouse, the mom, let's say, has Colombian citizenship and the other spouse and the children don't. That's okay. They're all going to qualify because the mom has Colombian citizenship. They can all apply for an E2 visa. So just because only one of the spouses has the citizenship doesn't mean the other spouse is not qualified. As long as one of the spouses has it, it's going to include the whole family. The family for immigration purposes is the legally married spouse and the children unmarried under 21. The investment requirement says a substantial amount. Basically, it depends on the business that you're putting together. If you're going to tell me you're going to do a 5-star restaurant, then $100,000 is not going to be enough. If you're going to buy a cafeteria, $100,000 likely be enough. So it just depends on the type of business. The investor needs to own at least 50% of the company. We recommend at least 51%. Yes, you can do 2 investor families. You can have 2 investors own one business 50-50, and each investor can apply for an E2 visa and bring their spouse. If that is the case, we recommend a higher investment amount and we recommend higher number of employees because immigration does not want for your investment to be something called marginal. A marginal investment, it's something that it's only good to support the investor and their family. So immigration doesn't want a marginal investment. That is why we like to show that we're creating jobs, okay? So we also have to show where the money came from for an E2 visa. So you cannot have obtained the money through criminal activity. If you obtain it through criminal activity, then we cannot use those funds. And as I mentioned before, the investment enterprise cannot be marginal. It must possess the potential to generate more than enough profit to provide for the living expenses of the investor and their family. What does that mean? Create jobs. So the E2 visa doesn't give you residency, okay? The E2 visa is a visa, a temporary visa. You have to have the intent to go back to your country. But I've had clients that have applied for E2 visa, and with the same business, eventually they're able to apply for EB5 because they are able to invest more money and create more jobs. EB5 does give you residency. So that's one way to go from E2 visa to residency. I've had situations where a couple comes in, one is the investor and the other one gets to work anywhere. If you are a spouse of an E2 visa investor, you can work anywhere you want. And as of recently, you don't even need a work permit anymore. Your status is incident to your ability to work. So with the E2 visa, you're able to work. So let's say you go work for a small accounting firm. They like you so much, 5 employees, they want to do labor certification for you. They want to keep you. We all know it's so hard to keep good employees. So when we have them, we want to keep them. And when they do that, when they do labor certification for you, they're going to include your spouse. So that's one way of them being able to become permanent residents, not because of the E2, but because she had the ability to work in the United States. She was able to get this job and they were able to sponsor her. And when they sponsor her, they're going to include the family as well. So that's another way. There's also something called national interest waiver. If you're a professional and you have you're a professional with a master's degree preferably, and 5 years of experience or more, and you are very well known in your field, you might be able to apply for permanent residency and under the national interest waiver where you don't even need a job offer. So that's another way you might be able to become a permanent resident. Let's see. Somebody's asking me, what money do I need to show if I want to petition somebody? When you are sponsoring anybody for a job in the United States, you have to show your company's taxes. And in your company's taxes, you have to have ability to pay. How do you show ability to pay? Well, your company has to be profitable and making profits. That is how you show ability to pay. Somebody asking me about the J1 visa, if it's only if you have a small company. No, you can do a J1 visa for big companies. Disney does J1 visas all the time for all the people that they bring temporarily to work in the stores and things like that. So no, it doesn't have to be for a small company. The E2 visa is only valid, very clear, while you have the business. If you sell the business or you want to retire, then you no longer have an E2 visa. So that is important to keep in mind. Brazilians do not have E2 visa treaty. However, I have done a lot of E2 visas actually in Brazil, in the US Embassy in Brazil, because a lot of Brazilians have Italian citizenship or they're able to get it because of their grandparents. So it's always good to look into that. See. The length of stay, again, it depends on the country that you're from. If you're from Argentina, 5 years, Colombia, 5 years, Mexico, 4 years, Costa Rica, 5 years. I will send you a follow-up email with the link and you can kind of look at that and you could ask me as well, because sometimes it changes, but you can keep on renewing and the renewals can be, you know, as long as the business is going forward. I understand right now a lot of embassies have closed around the world or there's things that are delays. If you came in with a B1 visa, which is a visitor's visa, there might be a way for you to do change of status within the United States, where immigration gives you an answer within 2 weeks. So that is something that we can offer our clients if they need to stay to manage their business, we can do a change of status. So very important. The United States, the spouse of the E2 visa holder can work, no problem. Now they just changed the regulations so they can work without a work permit. Who would want to apply for an E2 visa? A lot of people just want to be here temporarily, and then this is the visa for them. They don't want to invest too much, $100,000. This is what they want to invest. They want their children to attend U.S. school, then this is the visa for them, and this allows them to travel in and out with no problem. Now we have the EB5 visa. This is the one that had the recent change, and I'm really happy about it because it wasn't active before. So let me explain. So the EB5 visa is residency. You are applying to become a permanent resident. However, it takes 2.5 years to process. So it's not like you could apply, you get it, you're good to go. No, you apply, then you have to wait 2.5 years, and then you can become a permanent resident. During that time, you're not allowed to be here unless you have another status to be here. So some of my clients are here on a student visa while they apply, or they're here on an E2 visa when they apply. So that's fine too. You can do that, then you can do change of status. Otherwise, we're gonna have to process your EB5 visa in the US consulate abroad of wherever you are. The United States Immigration Services created this EB5 visa to stimulate the US economy through job creation and capital investment by foreign investors. So here are the main requirements. There has to be job creation, 10 full-time jobs to be exact, okay? And there has to be amount of money invested, and those amounts recently changed, and I'll explain to you in a minute. So the 10 full-time jobs, if you're doing direct, because there's 2 ways now to do the EB5. Direct, which means you create the job, you make the investment, you manage the business. If that's the case, you need to be actively involved in the business and you need to create the 10 full-time jobs. If you don't want to be actively involved in the business, then you can do it through a regional center. Regional centers are private entities that have received a designation from the United States Immigration Services to receive foreign investor money and give that money to different projects, okay? The regional center is what had stopped. Recently, they just reauthorized it. Of course, they increased the amounts. So there's gonna be projects coming up all over the place that will want foreign investors to come in and invest in their projects in order to obtain the EB5 visa and residency. The advantage of doing it through a regional center or a project is that you don't have to worry about job creation. The project does that for you. Also, you don't have to be actively involved in the business. So technically, the investor can live here in Miami Beach and the project can be in Texas or New York or wherever. It doesn't have to be where they live. As people are asking me about the presentation and the recording, yes, I'll share the presentation via email with my follow-up email and the link for the recording probably tomorrow. So I will be sharing that. So investment requirements, generally it's $1.5 million anywhere if you want to do it. Or then this is a new amount. If it's an area of high unemployment or a rural area, then it's 800,000. Usually the investments through the regional centers qualify under that. So the investment amount would be 800,000. The job creation is, actually, I want to make a correction. It says the option to invest in regional center expired on June 30th, up to date has not been renewed. That is incorrect. I will modify that because they just reauthorize it. So yes, job creation, investment through regional center is active right now, which is great. So we can do that. So who can help find these projects? Usually real estate agents, business brokers, you guys are the ones that find it. There is this new requirement that's not clear 100% right now, which is going to require for these people that find these projects to register in a particular registry. And I don't have the details on it yet because the USCIS immigration regulations haven't even been updated yet. But once they do, I will let you guys know what the process will be. So what I do in my job as an immigration attorney is I do legal due diligence on the project and on the regional center. We want to make sure that the regional center is actually a regional center and that the project is qualified under the regional center. In my follow-up email, I will send you a link to where immigration lists all the regional centers that have lost their accreditation. So it's really important. Now, regarding whether the project is good or not money-wise, they need to work with a financial advisor, somebody that specializes in analyzing securities and sort, because that's basically what it is. One of the requirements for the EB-5 visa is that your money be at risk. So if the project guarantees that you're going to get your money back, that's not money at risk. That's not going to qualify for an EB-5 visa. That's why due diligence is so extremely important when it comes to EB-5. It's a large sum of money. $800,000 is not chump change. So the way that it works is we apply for an EB-5 visa. It's going to take about 2.5 years for it to be processed. You're going to get conditional residency after 2.5 years. With that conditional residency, you're a resident, okay, for 2 years. In order to remove the conditions, we have to show, if you did investment direct, meaning you manage your own business, we have to show that you created the 10 full-time jobs. If you did it to a regional center in a project, we have to show that the project went forward and that the jobs were created. So either way, job creation is a must during those 2 years. Once we show that, we're able to remove the conditions, and now you're a permanent resident. And in 3 years from there, you can be a US citizen. As long as we apply for permanent residency while your kids are under 21, you should be protected, which is great, because once they turn 21, they're no longer part of your package. As long as you applied before, we might be able to protect them. So who should apply for an EB-5 visa? People that want to be permanent residents here. It really is a great visa, straight shot residency, as long as you have the money to apply. The money can be a loan. You can borrow this money. You don't have to have it hidden somewhere. I have clients that have borrowed money. I have clients that have received gifted money, inheritance, no problem. We just need to show the path of funds. And that's actually a very important part of our job. The path of funds, we have to show that you have this money legitimately. So we will work with you on that. We want to make sure that we can show that. Let's see. You can also, I was saying, you can be a loan, it can be a gift, it can be inheritance. So all that, it's no problem. You can get it, do it like that. What I'm going to put right now here is my contact information in the chat, but you also can see it there in the screen. And I want to open it up for questions. I don't know if you guys have any questions. If not, my email, my contact information is there. Investment visas are great. We do them a lot and we have a really good success rate. It really does depend on the investor. They have to want to do the job. And the realtor, you know, we work hand in hand with you guys because we have to walk the clients through, buy this house, buy this property, invest in this office, buy this business legally, follow this path, open up the US bank account. You know, there's different steps that we have to do for the investment visa, but it's very rewarding to be able to help others, foreigners such as myself, come to the United States, establish their life here, live here, grow here, and help the US economy. I cannot tell you how many times I am so blessed to be able to see these foreigners help the US economy, create jobs, you know, and do really wonderful things here in South Florida and all over the United States. So the investment visa is a great way to accomplish this. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation. My name, for those of you that arrived late, is Romy Jurado. I'm an attorney here in South Florida. I've been doing this for over 10 years. My law firm's name is Jurado and Associates. I have a fabulous team of lawyers, legal assistants, paralegals, and we're here to help. If there's anything I could ever do for you guys, not just with regards to investment visas, but real estate, litigation, probate, state planning, trademarks, copyrights, please feel free to reach out. And yes, I do speak Spanish, hablo español 100%, soy peruana. So en lo que les pueda ayudar, mucho gusto. Thank you so much. Have a nice week, and I'll see you guys soon in the next webinar. Bye-bye.